Hey guys, welcome back. It's Jen with Happy Humble Home. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the curriculum that I chose for the 2020 and 2021 school year. Now, I'm just going to do a quick flip through of the different curriculums for grades 3 and 5. I will take it one subject at a time, so we'll do both the math for both grades 3 and 5 and continue on like that. I am not associated at all with any of these companies. None of these are sponsored, no paid affiliates, anything like that. These are just curriculums that I have found or that was recommended to me by other homeschool parents. So go ahead and click that like and subscribe button and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with Math 5. This is the BJU Press Math 5, Bob Jones. Now, it is a very colorful book. It's very hands-on. It's your basic, typical math book. At the beginning of every chapter, they do have this, like this one, this Principles of Flight, and just gives a brief introduction. The book is based on aviation and flight. So every chapter will have something to do with flight, or something along those lines for that career. Now, every lesson does have a chapter review on it that will not pertain anything to what's being learned in the chapter. It may go over fractions, it may go over geometry, something else, just to kind of give them a brief review on parts of math that they have already learned that they're not necessarily using every lesson for that chapter. Every chapter does have a chapter review that will cover strictly what was taught in that lesson, and that's it. This particular one has 43 problems. Some of them may have 26. It just varies. After that, every chapter has a cumulative review. This particular one, this is, I guess, for the cumulative review for Chapter 3. So it goes back over figuring out population and reading data graphs, or it goes over making sure you know what the word form is. So it just varies what it will go over. It could go over fractions, it can go over decimals, it can go over anything. It does have different ideas here, like this one shows the Egyptian multiplication forms. It doesn't have that after every chapter. I just happened to stumble upon that one. It will kind of go over, they have it broke down into sections, and it's just basically helps them with terminology, with the vocabulary that's being used, exactly how to remember to do certain steps if they forget. And it's just a helpful handbook is what it is. And as you can see, it's very colorful. It's very well laid out. That is the Math 5 from BJU Press. Now, for third grade math, this is The Good and the Beautiful. Math 3. This particular book is part 2. There is a part 1 that is already completed. Every lesson starts out, this is to be more guided. Every lesson will start out with a daily dose, which is kind of like the BJU daily review, and then it doesn't necessarily have to do with anything about what is taught in the lesson. At the end of the lessons, the student will be given a student worksheet. The lessons in and of themselves are pretty quick. And then you go over that together. You work through it there together. The only real independent part of this would be the student worksheet. And then here it shows independent activities, student worksheet, and then there's bonus activities. There is no chapter reviews or anything like that. There is section reviews because the Course 1 book and Course 2 both have 2 sections. So you'll kind of have a test. They would kind of have an assessment halfway through the book and then at the end of the book. So 4 total for the entire school year. These are set up a little differently because the first part, they do have a guided assessment that you as a teacher are to guide them on. You're to, draw, in this case, you're drawing a rectangle. You're going to give the marker to them, and you're going to tell them to divide it into halves, into fourths, and then into eighths. The book does tell you how to grade, and it does show the possible points for each one, and you as a teacher or parent have to keep up with that. Then they will have their own independent assessment. It goes all the way from there and everywhere over here. There is no student worksheet on a test or assessment day. They do recommend that you either let the kids choose a bonus activity that they haven't played yet, or to complete one of you. So it's just coordinate multiplication is this particular bonus activity. This is a K through 8 unit study. They have a lot of different unit studies. They have arthropods, human body. They have a lot of different studies that you can choose. The first one that we did was Water in Our World. Since this is the K through 8 unit study, I do use it for both 5th and 3rd grade math. Or not math, excuse me, 5th and 3rd grade science. I will do a separate video on the way I set this up, because it basically comes everything that you need, or all your papers, it'll just come shrink wrapped together. So I will do a separate video on that to show how I set up my binder, or give you some options on how to set it up that's easy for you. It is made to be like a family unit study. Some of them you will have you have grade extensions, some lesson extensions for higher grades, for grades 7 and 8 that they recommend. And the units, the Water in Our World had about 11 lessons in it. And then we moved on to marine biology. Marine biology has 13 lessons. So you can just kind of judge how long it will take you to get through an entire unit, and then have your units planned accordingly. There is a lot of hands-on. It is a lot of experiments or demonstrations. And then they come with, some of them, they come with the little mini books here that you have to piece together. But they're all very vibrant and colorful. So like I said, I will do a separate video on the way that I just set that unit up, because I am getting ready to go ahead and start putting in a binder our next unit that we will be doing after we finish up marine biology. So this particular binder holds the marine biology unit and our Water in Our World unit. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about language arts for grades 5 and grades 3. These are both from My Father's World. Again, these are books that I have done research on, and that kind of followed suit with what I was wanting in a language arts program. These are both language lessons for today. These are to be completed in about, they're to be quick lessons. They're to be completed in about 15 minutes roughly. Both of them are pretty much the same, in that they have the different type of lessons that they explain in the front of the book. You have the poem studies, you have the picture studies, oral composition, dictation, narration, copy work. That's it. Then here's an example of the poem study, and then it answers a few questions that you're supposed to go over with them on the poem. Here's one of the picture studies. Well, that's actually the sentence study. So it does cover sentences, subjects, predicates, nouns, verb, your basic grammar rules. And then it also covers stuff like this that's just a picture study. And then it gives you what you're supposed to do. There is an answer key in the back that helps with the lessons that do have specific answers that are to be given, or close enough to be given. There's not one, as you can see, there's not one for every lesson, because we're jumping from 18 to 21, 19 to 21. So it's not every single lesson that there will be answers in the back of the book too. But they are back here. So it makes it very easy that it's all in one, well, in one easy book. Make sure that you do read the introduction, because that really helps. It kind of tells how many lessons are to be in a week. And then this book is basically the same, just for a little bit younger age group. It still has your picture studies, your dialogue, composition, antonyms, almost and most, picture studies, very basic. I also have, to help with the writing a little bit, these writing strands, level 2 and level 3 writing strands, which is from Master Books, I believe. Yes, Master Books. So those kind of go together. I don't necessarily do lessons in those every day. It's just kind of depends on what we're at in the language arts on that. So moving on, this is from Christian Liberty Press. It's a typical history book in the fact that you read a chapter, and then at the end of the chapter you'll have different comprehension questions. There is a separate test key The book does not contain any kind of test key or teacher's notes, teacher's guide, anything like that. You can purchase that separately. And the tests usually cover about 3 to 4 chapters, and they're about 20, each test I believe is 25 questions, and they're either multiple choice or true and false or matching. And this particular one starts at the beginning of the exploration of the New World with Leif Erikson, and then it goes up until, I believe it closes out during Obama's 2008, not 2000, yes, I believe it's his election in 2008, I believe is where it ends up, is where this book goes through. So that's how far it goes through. It's your very basic history book. He does give extra like links to go to learn more about different people or cool facts that aren't in the book a little bit more, and it's different units. So that's okay. So with 3rd grade, we've done these 180 days of social studies for 3rd grade. It covers history, civics, geography, economics, and then it just circles back through. Every week you'll have something to complete every day of the week. Because see, this is week 4, day 1, excuse me. And then you'll have day 2 for week 4, week 4, day 3, week 4, day 4, and week 4, day 5. And then the next week that they'll be talking a little bit about history, and it just circles back through history, civics, economics, geography, and it continues on. Since this is a quicker and easier kind of overview for social studies, I have included these Revere books. They are about historical events. Even though they're written by Rush Limbaugh, he keeps politics out of it. A Time Traveling Horse. My son really enjoys them. And in order to make sure that we know that he understands what he's reading, you can also print off these papers and quizzes, and I will leave the link in the description below to where you can print off these. But it gives a quiz for every single chapter, even for the prologue and epilogue as well. And then you can also print off the answer key for grading, and then just the answer key. Every chapter has a quiz, and it also has a short answer. And it also has, here we go. So here's this would be the short answer for quiz 6 after they have completed the 10-question quiz. Every chapter has 10 questions, and there is one of these for every single book. So for all 5 books and these, each book only has 10 chapters. So typically my son, he'll read 1 chapter in a week. He'll read the chapter, he'll read a little bit in the book every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then on Friday, he takes his quiz. And then we go on to the next chapter. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up for the textbook portion of the curriculum that we're using. My boys are also doing typing, but we are using typing.com for that. It's a really good online program that I found that I'm allowed to have a teacher's account. So we're also just doing, we're just going over these devotions for How Great Is Our God, 100 Incredible Devotions About God and Science. They're not the exact same, like they have different devotions each day. And there's 100 in both of these. So once one of them finishes, then they'll swap. So that way they're reading different devotions still. And then we're going through Easy Peasy Homeschool for the Bible reading portion of our school day. Now, that wraps up all the curriculum that we're using. And again, I'm not affiliated with any of it. It's just independent research that I found, what I liked or what I wanted to give a try to see how it works for us. This is not a review video. I will give a review on what I do and don't like about the different aspects come May, once I have given it a full year. So that way I feel like I can truly test it and I can get the boys' feedback on it and really know how it works for our family. So that's it for this video. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and then ring that little bell so that